Hey, what's up? So my dad and I are here, and we're going to talk to you about one of his prophecies that he spoke to and through and with his firstborn baby, YaHooWaH, the same person. He's one, not two or three, but one. And through and through with one of his messengers, to and through and with Yehonathan Ben ZaBaDaYaH, Ben YaHooWaSa, Ben YaHooWaNaThaN. And so now the Revelation prophecies, of course, as you come to know by the title on this video and such, is about Babylon the Great. So it's important to know, because if you don't know, what's going to happen is there could be misunderstandings, such as, like, you read the Bibles and the Bibles are butchered. The Bibles are basically like these defiled versions of true scripture. So Ab means dad, so I call the Almighty YaHooWaH Yam, and YaHooWa's only begotten Son is one. I call him my Ab, my dad. So now that's because of adoption. So, and you'll learn that by watching other videos and stuff like that. But this video, we're going to get into this Revelation prophecy. So now, when you consider what we're saying carefully, what we need you to do is we need you to first grab a pen, a piece of paper. Oh, and make sure your closed captioning is on, because on the screen here, you'll see a bunch of stuff written down. And this will help you, because what will happen is you'll see a bunch of notes and references that we've been speaking to, and things like a website or something, or a scriptural reference, and things like that you can compare what we're saying to know that we're telling the truth and we're not lying and we're not crazy. So, because how many videos are out there and how many people are going around in the name of Jesus and all this other stuff, and they're acting like they're prophets and pastors, which means shepherds, and apostles and all this other stuff, and they just don't have a clue to the say spell word. So now, the mark of the beast will be, and the beast will be part 2. This video is going to be part 1, is Babylon the Great. And you'll want to take some notes. You'll want to also consider carefully watching our other 3 videos. Test All Things with Zion and His Dad. Is he really called God, Allah, or Lord? And then after those 2, then you watch The Covenant Born Again. Now, it's not required, like, to watch any of those 3, you'd have to watch them in order. That would be a requirement. But to watch this video that you're watching now, it's not required to say so. So, but if you don't watch them first, there were some things that might not make sense, like the way we keep calling him Yahweh and then Al Yam and not God, and things like that, little stuff in there that you might go, huh? Too? You know what I mean? And why we don't call him God and things like that. So, see it on your screen there. You probably already did. Go check it out. Once again, put your closed captioning on if you don't already have it on. And then if you didn't have it on to this point, go back to this video and restart it so you can kind of read what's going on the screen here and keep up. So now, the reason why we call it the revelation of YaHooWaNaThaN is because that's what it says, right? And so the revelation of Yehonathan Ben ZaBaDaYaH, or falsely called John, doesn't really make sense, does it? Because he didn't come up with it, did he? So it was my dad. YaHooWaH Yam, and YaHooWa's his only begotten Son. He is one, not 2 or 3. You look up Isaiah 43:10-12, where he says he's one. Then you look at Yehonathan, falsely called John, chapter 14, verses 7-9, where he says, "Look at me when you see me, when you see the Father. You've seen me, so you've seen the Father." He's pretty adamant about him being one and the same person. Plus, there's not anywhere in all of Scripture that says he's more than one. So, so the revelation. So when you look at Revelation chapter 1, verse 1, it simply says, "The revelation of YaHooWaNaThaN Ben ZaBaDaYaH, which all yam. So there's that word alert there. So if you don't know and you have a problem with us saying all yam rather than Elohim or God, then and you're going to get hung up on that, you need to stop right now and go watch our other videos. So test all things with Zion and his dad is the first one. Is he really called God, Allah, or Lord is the second one. And the third one is the covenant, born again. So you need to go and watch that right now. If not, and you're cool with it, and you're kind of like, okay, well, I'll watch it after. Then sure, go ahead. But what's going to happen is you might get this thing in your mind where you're still hung up on me being inaccurate because I just said this stuff, and you're going to be like, wait a minute, I can't call him God. You know what I mean? And you're going to start thinking that I'm full of dung, like poop. I will refrain from saying the S word because this is YouTube. So, but like, you know, poop, dung, like bad things, like stinky, like something smells, like something's wrong with this guy. You know, like, so scatter with the chatter and pitter patter and go watch the other videos. Or if you can stick with us and you're cool with it and you're like, okay, well, I'm willing to be wrong, which would mean that you're humble. Then continue watching, and then make sure that you watch those videos after. Okay. So the revelation of YaHooWaNaThaN, that's what it says. It doesn't say the revelation of YaHooWaNaThaN Ben ZaBaDaYaH, does it? Does it say the revelation of John, the son of Zebedee? So he helped write this, yes. So just like I'm writing this stuff and I'm making these videos, it's not me though. It's YaHooWaH El Yam, and YaHooWa's only begotten Son. He is one. And his word, which is his body and flesh, his temple, and always has been, always will be. That, and his word became built man and created man flesh, and his only begotten Son aspect of him residing aspect of his temple, and he is one. So he is truth. He says he's the way, the truth, and the life. So he also says that he, and that's YaHooWaNaThaN 14 verse 6, I think. And then you've got, he says that he is love. It says all Yam is love, not God. You can't go watch the videos, I'm telling you. You know, and that would be 1 YaHooWaNaThaN 4 verse 8, and I think 16 or something like that. That he is love, and that if we don't love, we're not in him, we're not of him, type thing. So now, so it's his message, right? He has messengers to help him, such as, you know, people they falsely call angels. That's just a term that came from agalos in the Greek. That means messenger, right? They don't have wings. You know. So the revelation of YaHooWaNaThaN, which all Yam gave unto, so the Almighty gave unto him to show unto his servants things that must take place. And he sent and made it known by his messenger unto his servant YaHooWaNaThaN. So revelation of YaHooWaNaThaN, chapter 1, verse 1. And so there's a lot of things in the book of Revelation, and that we need to cover. But right now we're going to cover Babylon the Great. So a lot of folks say that Babylon the Great is this person or that person or that, or this city or that group or whatever, but we need to go by instead of what our own feelings are. So if you're an American, you got to buckle up, click, because, or someone that's given over to the United States and really supportive of them, you got to be careful because your emotions can determine your next course of action, like not believing us, for instance, and we're telling truth, right? So if you're not objective and honest and real about things, you're going to miss the entire Revelation prophecy completely. So now buckle up, grab that pen, that paper, take some notes, pay attention to what's on the closed captioning on the screen, and remember, test all things, you know, and make sure that you look into it. So now what you're going to see is you're going to continuously see some scriptures going up on your screen there. And as we go through, so it's written, and there followed another messenger. Oh, so what we're going to do is we're going to say the scriptures first, and these are going to have all of the fruits, like it's written. He says, "You will know a tree by its fruits," right? So in other words, by its evidence. So if you look at Babylon the Great, and you can say something like, "This person or this group or whatever is Babylon the Great." But not all the fruits line up with who they are and what they do. They're not Babylon the Great, are they? So that's what we're saying. So take some notes. You write down, okay, well, this guy, they're saying this. Well, that makes sense. You know what I mean? Plus, It's all on the screen for you. Download our videos as well. If you have, I think you have to subscribe to YouTube. But so subscribe to YouTube. Is that what it takes? Get a subscription if you want to download the videos. Maybe you got a friend who's already got one, and they could do it that way. Woo, woo-hoo. So it is written. So, and there followed another messenger saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she caused all the nations to drink of the thumos. So that's a Greek word that means, so in Strong's G 22:372, passion, angry, heat, anger forthwith boiling up and soon subsiding again, rage. So to drink of the thumos of her sexual immorality. So what does that mean? So that's written in Revelation 14 verse 8. So it's also written, and there came one of the 7 messengers which had the 7 vials and spoke with me. Come here, I will show you the judgment of the great porne. So that's the great porne. So that's a word, porne, in Greek coin. That means a woman who sells her body for sexual uses, a prostitute, a harlot, one who yields herself to defilement for the sake of gain. So in other words, she's not going to spend time with you or do things for you and with you unless there's something in it for her, like money and stuff. And power and authority. Who sits upon many waters. And he said unto me, the waters which you saw where the porne sits are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the woman that you saw is that great city, that echo. So there's a Greek word, echo, and it means to have, to hold, to have, to hold in the hand, in the sense of wearing, to have, to hold possession of the mind. Refers to alarm, agitating emotions, etc. To hold fast, to keep, to have, or comprise, or involve, to regard or consider or hold as. To have, to own, to possess. External things such as pertaining to property or riches or furniture or utensils or goods or food, used of those joined to anyone by the bonds of natural blood or marriage or friendship or duty or law, etc. Of attendance or companionship, to hold oneself or find oneself so and so, to be in such or such a condition, to hold oneself to a thing, to lay hold of a thing, to adhere, to cling to be closely joined to a person or a thing. So, and the woman that you saw is that great city that echo over leaders of the earth, holds fast to them, right? All of them, not just one. Is it? So keep that in mind. It's careful. That's a fruit. Okay. So now the first one was there's a lot of rage. So Babylon ends up falling because all the nations have drank of the rage, the thumos, of her sexual immorality. They're angry at her, at this nation or this group, this city. So they're really angry and frustrated. And that could probably be one of the reasons why. She's echoing. She's holding fast to everybody else's business and getting involved. And it's also, so that last part was Revelation 17 verses 1, 15, and 18. Not 1 through 15 and through 18, but 1 and 15 and 18. And it's written, with whom the leaders of the earth have committed pornuo. So there's another Greek word. So that means to prostitute one's body to the lusts and desires of another. And the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her porneia, illicit sexual intercourse. So that's a Greek word there, illicit sexual intercourse. So that's written in Revelation 17 verse 2. So now there's another fruit, right? To prostitute one's body to the desires of another. So you ever have someone like use you spitefully just for things, like they call you up when they need money, or even when it's not so obvious, like they're making deals with you, and like would they still be talking to you or dealing with you if you didn't have money? Would they still be talking to you or hanging out with you or associating with you if you didn't have like something to offer that would get them ahead monetarily wise, like money wise, or any other way? So there's a fruit, a prostitute, right? And it's written also, so he carried me away in the spirit, Yahweh's person. He has no beginning or end in size. Into the wilderness, and I saw a woman seated upon a red-colored beast full of blasphemous names, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And here is the mind that has wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sits, and there are 7 leaders. 5 are fallen, no more. 1 is, and 1 is not yet come, and when he comes, he must continue a short time. And the beast that was and is not, and even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goes into ruin. And the 10 horns that you saw are 10 leaders, who have received no rule yet, but receive authority as leaders for 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind and give their power of military and authority of government unto the beast. So that's Revelation chapter 17, verses 3, and then verse 9, 2 and through verse 13, inclusive of verse 13, of course. Now, when you look at that scripture, examine that carefully, there's some fruits. So there are 7 mountains on which the woman sits, 7 leaders. So there you go. She's clinging to them. She's echo, right? And one is not yet come, and when he comes, he must continue a short time. So now you've got 5 are fallen. So during the course of Babylon the Great's history, they stick to 7 leaders, I think. 5 become fallen. 1 is, and 1 is not yet come. So I think we passed by the 1 is part. And the 1 that is not yet come is now here. So now check this out. And then you've got the 10 horns. The beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and his other 7 goes into ruin. So the 7 horns that you saw are 10 leaders who have received no rule yet, but receive authority as leaders for 1 hour with the beast. So the beast is like a unity. It's a combination of the 10 leaders, right? And so these 10 leaders, they have to be 10 leaders of something, right? So these have one mind and give their power of military and authority of government unto the beast. So what does that tell you? 10 governments. Aren't you? U.S.A. silver. So now you're talking about like a one world government here, right? So, and the 10 horns which you saw, that's already spoken to. Oh, it's also written, and the 10 horns which you saw upon the beast, so a united group such as an alliance or one world government, these shall hate or will hate. Got to change this here. So we're looking at a document here on our screen, which is the Babylon the Great and the Beast document. And so we're reading from that. That my Ab wrote to me and through me with me. So and the 10 horns which you saw upon the beast, a united group such as an alliance or one world government. These will hate the porne, the prostitute. So there's the thumos, there's the rage, right? And will poieho, to be the authors of her eremo. So poieo is a Greek word that means to be the authors of. Her eremo. So eremo is a Greek word that means to make desolate, to lay waste, to ruin, to bring to desolation, to despoil one, to strip her of her treasures, and bear and will devour her flesh and burn her with fire, nuclear weapons. So now that's found in Revelation 17, verse 16. Now, it's pretty self-explanatory. So the 10 horns, what you saw upon the beast, are already, it's already been substantiated that there are 10 leaders. Now, these will hate the porne. So porne is a Greek word, so it's already been substantiated to mean prostitute. And will poieho, to be the authors of her eremo, to make desolate, lay waste, to ruin, bring to desolation, to despoil one, strip her of her treasures, and bear and will devour her flesh and burn her with fire, nuclear weapons. That's found in Revelation 17, verse 16, as we said already. So now there's some fruits there. So now they will hate the prostitute, so they'll have a problem with her. So next you have to examine other things, and we'll get into that shortly. So once again, we're reading all these scriptures, and then we'll get into the fruits of what nation or group on this world bears all the fruits that would line up with who this great whore is, this porne, this prostitute, this harlot, this Babylon, the great city. What lines up, right? And it's also written, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the thumos, passion, heat, anger, forthwith boiling up and soon subsiding again, rage, of her porneia, so the Greek word that means illicit sexual intercourse. And the leaders of the earth have committed pornuo. So the Greek word there meaning to prostitute one's body to the lusts or desires of another. So one person kind of seemingly affecting everyone else to do what they desire, manipulating, controlling. That's what hookers do, prostitutes. So they'll give themselves over sexually, and even in other ways, to cause the others to feel good, right? But if you don't have money and stuff like that, and riches to offer, well, forget it. So they have committed the pornuo, to prostitute one's body to the lust desires of another with her. And the merchants, investors, traders, etc. of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her strenos. So there's a Greek word that means excessive strength, which longs to break forth over strength, luxury, eager desire. Standing afar off for the fear of her torment. Nuclear radiation is what my op's showing me. Why else would they be standing afar off? Saying, whoa, whoa. So this is not, they're saying, not like, whoa, man. They're not doing that, okay? Not going, whoa, whoa. They're not doing that. So this is, when you look up at the etymology of those words, woe and woe means sorrow, grief, and pain. So have you ever been really hurting and in anxiety and grief, and seen others that way? Now they're not saying things clear and crisp like I am right now, like my Ob and I are right now. Are they? They're crying. They got tears. They're shaking. They're stuttering. They're having a difficult time. They're in sorrow and great grief. They're in woe. So now knowing that, considering that, now let's read that again. So it says, woe, woe. So they're saying it in that way of being. They're sad. They're distressed. They're bummed out. They're sad. They're down. That's all that means. That word, bummed out. That great city, that mighty city, for only 1 hour has your sundering. So compare G2920 being complete, and then compare G2064. We're not all over the place. This is all very, very contextual. It's just that there's such a level of intelligence here and wisdom here that one has to slow down so they can really take in what we're saying. That's why it's good to have notes. So do some writing. And I guess it would be this way, because that would be like left way, yeah. And the merchants of the earth will weep and mourn over her. So this is important. The merchants of the earth will weep and mourn over her, for no one buys her merchandise anymore. Well, why not? Well, it just says, in 1 hour has your sundering, ruin, being completed. Sundering, done, it's over. Nuclear radiation, 1 hour. What else could bring a nation that powerful? It's been described before. Every nation on earth is affected by that one. Every single one there is. To such an extent that they're rich. Every one of them's rich because of it. Some of them aren't, probably because they're not getting with the program, are they? So in 1 hour, what would bring down a nation that quick in 1 hour? And what would give such torment and fear to others that they stay away from the physical landmass because they're scared that they'll receive that same torment, nuclear radiation. So, and on to verse 12. So the merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and pearls and fine linen and purple, dye and silk, fabric garments and scarlet, and scarlet, so dye, and all Thyian wood, and all types of vessels of ivory, and all types of vessels of most precious wood, brass, iron, and marble. So remember, all types of vessels. So are boats and ships types of vessels? Sure they are. You've got ships that are made of iron and steel and wood, and there's some brass and what those two. So we got all these naval ships and vessels. And cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense. So that's Lebanon, falsely called juniper cedar. Okay, it smells good. And wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and reta. There's a Greek word there that means a chariot, a type of vehicle having 4 wheels. Interesting. Maybe there's some there that have types of 2 wheels, like a motorcycle, like an automobile has 4 wheels. Like the Ford Motor Company or Chevrolet or or Dodge, things like that, right? Or Honda or Toyota, they all have 4 wheels. Some of them, the motorcycles have 2. Some have 3. So, and Reda, enslaved, and souls of men. So there's some fruits there. What nation on earth trades all these goods, these things that increase people and get them to be rich, to all the nations of the world? Or at least it's available to all the nations of the world, as long as the nations of the world get with their program. And the fruits that your soul lusted after are taken away from you, and all things that are dainty and luxurious are taken away from you, and you will find them no more at all. The merchants of these things, investors and traders, etc., that were made rich by her, will stand afar off for the fear of her torment. There's that term again, fear of her torment. Why are they standing afar off? They're probably scared to die. Fear of her torment. So she just got wiped out, man, in 1 hour. So there's some fear. There's some concerns that if I go there, I'm probably not going to do too well. So nuclear radiation, you get too close, you get sick. So for the fear of her torment, weeping and mourning and saying, woe, woe. So there's that term again. Doesn't mean they're saying, whoa, man, whoa. It means sorrow, grief, and pain. So in their tears and in their sadness and in their grief, they're saying, that great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and red, cloth or clothing, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. There's it again. For only 1 hour, so much wealth or riches has come to erebo. There's that Greek word again. To make desolate, lay waste, to ruin, to bring to desolation, to despoil one, strip her of her treasures. And every ship captain and all the multitudes of ships and seamen, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off, and cried when they saw the smoke from her burning. So if they're afar off and they're at sea, right, kind of like the multitudes of ships. You don't see ships on land, do we? So they're out in the oceans, kind of, you know what I mean? You know all the trade routes, like going to all the ports and harbors everywhere? Now, all of a sudden, if they're on the middle of a mission to bring stuff or to bring goods, trade goods there, and to grab some on the way back, and all of a sudden, boom, there's this big nuclear catastrophe. They're probably going to be putting on the brakes, maybe laying anchor, and sitting there crying and like, what just happened? All of a sudden, they're texting whoever, and they're getting all these, and they're finding out more. Maybe they got a computer on board the ship, or a TV, and they're watching the news. So now, I think that they would probably weighed anchor, and they'd be sitting out in the waters for quite a while until they determined what their next course of action would be, and how they would set course, seeing as there's no more port to go to. It just got nuked, right? So now, every ship captain, all the multitudes of ships and seamen, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off, and cried when they saw the smoke from her burning, saying, what city is like this great city? Who's going to make us the money that we've been making? What am I going to do? I can't find a job. Things like that. And they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and mourning, saying, woe, woe. So through sorrow, grief, and pain, that great city by which all who have ships in the sea, so there's the fruit, all who have ships in the sea were made rich by reason of her abundance of costly things, profits. For in only 1 hour is she ruined. So verse 23, and the light of a candle will shine no more at all in you. Oh, that's Revelation 18, by the way. So the light of a candle will shine no more at all in you, and the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride will be heard no more at all in you. Well, no one wants to be in a nuclear radiation zone and get married, do they? Because your merchants, investors, traders were the great men of the earth, for by your pharmakeia. So there's a Greek word that means the use or the administering of drugs, poisoning, sorcery, magical arts, often found in connection with idolatry, and fostered by it. Metaphorically, the deceptions and seductions of idolatry. So, connection with idolatry and fostered by it. So now you've got all the money and the riches and the goods that are connected with Babylon the Great. So now, don't you think that idols? So if you hold something as more important, that a built thing or created thing that's not a person, as more important important than persons, that's idolatry. As the law says, love your all Yom with all your soul, your love, and mind and strength. The second is like it, love your neighbors, love yourself. Right? If they have need, see to their needs, don't charge them money. Right? So that's idolatry, part of idolatry. So metaphorically, the deceptions and seductions of idolatry. So by these things, so by the lady of hold on, for by your pharmakia were the nations of the fallen deceived. Right? So with all this riches and splendor and everything else, they're deceived. They call it a lot of things, but we'll get into that later. And in her was found the blood of and in her was found the blood of prophets and of the set apart. Saints and holy aren't etymologically sound in being pure and describing anything good, and were never terms used by the Almighty, nor any other prophet described as people anywhere else. It's actually kados. Some people say kodesh, but it's supposed to be kados. Anyways, and of all that were slain upon the earth. So there's some fruits there. The idolatry thing, the trading thing, the pork thing. There's a lot of important fruits there to consider. I hope you're taking your notes. Please. I'm not some freak, are we? We're not some Jesus freaks. We don't want your money. We do need help, but that's another issue. But that's not why we're here. We're not charging you anything for this. We're not. See, look, I'm not wearing a three-piece suit, are we? We're not. And we're a lot more educated than them. And according to this world, I'm not educated. I've got a GED, a great diploma. It's not even a regular grade 12. But he uses a symbol to confound the wise. So then there's some more fruits in there. And in her was found the blood of prophets and of the set apart, and of all that were slain upon the earth. So how many innocent people? Those are set apart, right? Like babies. How many abortions? All this kind of stuff. And all that kind of stuff. All that were slain upon the earth. So that's found all that in the last little while since the last time we said the scripture, reference. Is Revelation 18, verse 3, verses 10 to 19, so inclusive, and then verse 23 and verse 24. So now that we've got all that figured out, hopefully you got it figured out. If you don't, that's okay. Just stay with us. We'll show you, and it will also supply you with, like as we've already, so like as you're going to find out with answers and point-by-point explanation on how and why and who and what and where and all that kind of good stuff. So everyone on earth has experienced Babylon's pilfering and getting involved in affairs they shouldn't be. There's the pornea, the prostitute. They grow weary of her, Babylon, and are so angry that they rage because of her meddling with their affairs. The United States fits this description 100%. They have and do always get involved with other countries' business and how those other countries conduct themselves and their affairs. Porne. So there's a Greek word. Strong's G204 or G4204. Sorry. A woman who sells her body for sexual uses. A prostitute. A harlot. One who yields herself to defilement for the sake of gain. Is a suitable term given to Babylon the Great, as everything this country fits with and as everything this country nation does fits with that term. They affect everyone with their music, movies, culture, mindset, language, money, clothing styles, and lifestyles. And with those things, they corrupt themselves and others, and cause many to stumble and fall, while they parade themselves and offer themselves like a prostitute to anyone who will have her if you have the money. So side note, what do? They flaunt. Everything they do, they speak it in the public and open, they brag about it. Everything from their ship positions, their naval movements, to their army movements, and they wonder why people know about them. And then they call it top secret on their news. So to their lifestyles, to what they're dressing, what they're wearing, what they're saying, how they're saying it, and why, and the plastic surgery, they cause people to believe that that's beauty, and it's fake. So they are always seemingly friends with one group, while seemingly friends or allies with another group, who are enemies with the first group they are seeming friends with. This can be easily seen with the United States of America. With the United States of America, they will also often turn a profit from war, and once they have a country defeated, they will set it in place or a version of their own government and economy that is fully supportive of their own and which profits them. Now, please don't get too excited. We are not terrorists. We don't desire for you all to die or for you to get your heads cut off and stuff, and so we don't desire for you to get sickness. Actually, we wouldn't desire that at all. So we are not against Americans, are we? We love you as people, but we are against bad government. Are you? Are you against people killing people? Are you against murder? Are you against gun violence? Are you against sexually transmitted disease? I know I am. I'm against racism, which means just simply that the hatred of people because of their color or language or such like that. So now to make that clear, we're not here to get you guys to start beating people up or to try to raise some hatred. If you're doing that, it's very wrong, and you got to stop. So while they sit on the United Nations Security Council as a permanent member along with Russia, China, and other nations, they are also making moves that are at enmity with those same nations, such as economic warfare, sanctioning, and even bombing, as was seen with Yugoslavia and others, so that they can attempt to manipulate those groups into doing their will. Then, when it is convenient, they skip the UN Security Council laws and practices to engage in activities that are they skip the UN, or then when it is convenient, they skip the UN Security Council laws and practices to engage in activities that are against the United Nations Security Council and the nations that are members of it, such as not getting their support and vote when it came to the U.S.A. leading a NATO bombing against Yugoslavia to interfere with the Kosovo War, which was a civil war, a war that would have turned out differently if the U.S. and NATO had not gotten involved. Way differently. That includes how the country, government, economy, and citizen members would have developed, where they then manipulated and bullied people into accepting democracy and their ways. So it's like putting them in a position, well, might not be like straight out like how Hitler was, where or someone else where they're like going like that and they're kind of like forcing you outrightly like that to do things. This is more of a subtle tactic. So if you put someone in a position where you've cut them off with sanctions and stuff like that, like from oil and gas, then you move in to supply your own. See what I mean? So there's something in it for them. Whenever they sanction someone and stuff, they're making money. So, and those people they sanction are losing it. So it's a way to try to bully people into accepting democracy and their ways, and their own form of democracy. So we also see America the Great interfering with Iraq and claiming that there were weapons of mass destruction there when there was not, and they even tried, convicted, and hung Saddam Hussein on not truly just grounds. They destroyed Iraq, and it soon went into a terrorist state of decay. The same can be seen, don't you remember? So at that time, when the United States went after Iraq, they were claiming that there was weapons of mass destruction. So that would include nuclear warheads, bioweapons, chemical weapons. Now, when they went and they wiped it out, and they went and looked in the storage, and everywhere, they scrutinized every square inch of Iraq. Did they find any? But they destroyed the entire country, and they killed a lot of people. But oops, my bad. Oh, our intelligence told us that there was. You know what? Your intelligence ain't so intelligent, is it? Once again, we're not being hateful. We're just telling it like it is, right? Freedom of speech, and freedom of religion, and freedom of expression. By the way, all this stuff is based upon the Bible, right? Word. So now, they destroyed Iraq, and it soon went to a terrorist state of decay. The same can be seen with Afghanistan. So what happened in Afghanistan? They go in there to try to implement their own form of government. They did for a while. What happened? The people turned on them. And then the same group that they call terrorists, I'm not saying they're not. We're not at all, are we? Don't get it in your head that we're supporting you guys. We're not. We're just telling it like it is. Now, the Taliban, all of a sudden, now they're running Afghanistan. And the United States got chased away like a puppy with its tail tucked between its legs. They blew it. They dropped the ball there, just like in Iraq. So the same can be seen with Afghanistan, Syria, Germany. What did they do? World War II. They split it in two. And what happened was there was more division, and there was more economic instability in Germany and more strife after the war than there was before. We're not, once again, we're not supporting a false form of government like Nazi socialism, where they call it National Socialism, or fascism. We're just saying after World War II, Germany was in the worst shape from the dual in the East it was communism, in the West it was democracy. And whose idea was that? The United States. So you got Germany, then Japan. What did they do there? They dropped nukes on them. They were way stronger than Japan. They could have taken them out with conventional warfare. But no, they had to drop nukes and get people to melt. Children with their flesh boiling and melting off their bones. Babies, infants. And they call it a victory. So then Korea and so many others, they bring in their democracy. What about Vietnam? Yay. Going in there and using vacuum bombs and all the other stuff, and they still lost. Little tiny Vietnam, picking on that. Once again, we're not backing up false governments, are we? We're not going for the communists. We're not taking democracy side. Just telling it like it is, okay? So now they bring in their democracy, government, own version of diplomacy and economic system. And now not only those nations, but most all nations rely on the U.S. economy and money as a measure of wealth, prosperity, value to their lands, other properties, entire economic structure, and even themselves. So they lay value to themselves. People value money and these goods, these things, these properties, not good, but these things more than they value people. Idolatry. From okay. Remember the fruits? So take notes, careful. Don't start pointing the fingers. He's a false prophet. You want to debate? Bring it. I'm not being rude or proud of I'm just saying we can debate, man. But the thing is, though, is if you're going to get caught up with like the words God and stuff like that, if you start debating and saying things that are just not true, and we strip you down at the first sentence you say, don't be surprised if the debate's over. Okay? There's no point in debating with someone if they're stuck at something as simple as words and their meaning. So if we get in debate with you later and you're talking about, well, God wouldn't allow that, we're not going to acknowledge that because God is Odin. If you don't believe us, go and watch the first 3 videos we've got. You can even skip ahead if you want and watch, is he really called God, Allah, or Lord? Well, all the evidence is right there. He's not called any of those 3 things. So if you don't believe it and you're getting all mad and watching the video, take a time out, pause, come back and watch it. Just relax. We're not coming against you with it. We're just saying, stop trying to teach when you need to be taught. Stop trying to be a pastor or a shepherd when you're not. Stop trying to say you're a prophet when you're not. And there's a real one speaking to you. You always do this. People often always do this whenever my house sends prophets. They go against us. Prove it. Prove what you're saying is true. Do your homework, every single jot and tittle and line there is, man. Don't. We're not being strong and rude, is it? We're just saying. Okay? So now the next paragraph. NATO as well has been influenced and led by Babylon, America, the great harlot. Instead of being defensive over its own member nations, it became defensive and went on the offense over member nations' ethnical groups, such as the Albanians that were in the non-NATO nation Yugoslavia, who were citizens not of a NATO nation, but of Yugoslavia. It's my hobby. And The Yugoslavs were not attacking or persecuting other nations, but peoples within their own borders. And of course, Yahweh the Almighty and the one true nation, his nation, U.S.A, which is found in little children. As it is written, but YaHooWaH said, allow little children and do not forbid them to come unto me, for such is the community of the Psalm Yom. So that's found written in YaHooWaH 19 verse 14. So how was it any business of the U.S.A's and NATO's? There are many more examples as well, such as can be seen with everything from their interferences in the Middle East, the African nations, Afghanistan, North Korea, South Korea, Japan, China, Russia, Ukraine, Vietnam, India even. Like there's so many, man. And the African nations, I mean, Africa is a continent, they call it. How many nations are there? So when they, how have they influenced them with their music? You got a bunch of children, black children, running around listening to gangster music, child soldiers killing each other with guns. A lot of them made in America. So when examining the drink that Babylon America, when examining the drink that Babylon America, the great harlot, caused the others to drink. So when I do that, I go, should I? And you say slower. I'm talking to my op. I'm thinking maybe I should talk about something else, or if I should stop doing this or something else, because apart from him, we can't do anything, can we? So he should get all the honor. Whenever you see a prophet, a true prophet or true teacher, it's not a person, the created person. It's him, to and through with that person. So you need to test that person to see if what they're doing is true, right? And why would it be wrong for someone to say, I'm a prophet, if they're truly a prophet? Are they lying? It just means you got to test them out, man. You know, like if what I'm saying is true, and I'm not lying to you, spitting you some nonsense, and it is true, you know, we don't need you to recognize I'm a prophet in the way of like, oh yeah, look at me, now I want to get a 3-piece suit and a big limo and da da da. No. It's just you need to pay attention and realize if somebody's credible, if there's true. It's just like with these false groups here on this world. They'll say doctor, teacher, so and so, and they're subtle about it, right? So they've got credibility. They got things, well, not credibility, they think they do, but they've got things that they put out there to try and verify themselves and give them credibility. But they're not. Anyway, that's another topic. But so when examining the drink that Babylon, but you need to examine the things that they're examining. So if you're looking at things like the Strong's Concordance, and that also is calling the Almighty God and things like that, and God can be easily proven to be mean Odin. You got to watch other videos. But then there's not really credibility, is there? That's what we mean by their arguments. If you want to debate, you got to debate by using something more with us other than like Harry Potter movies, okay, and like other mythological books and stuff like that, because you're not going to get it, will they? You know. So to continue. So the last part. So how was it any business of the U.S.A's and NATO, so Yugoslavia and stuff? There are many more examples as well, such as can be seen with everything from their interferences in the Middle East, the African nations, Afghanistan, North Korea, South Korea, Japan, China, Russia, Ukraine, Vietnam, and mostly everyone is sick and tired of it. When examining the drink that Babylon America, the great harlot, caused the others to drink, and that being the rage they express against her, you can see comparatively that a strong drink in wine impairs a person's judgments and decisions. So does rage. So there's another type of wine they drink. So they drink another of her porneus. So they start doing the same things, bad things, and even supporting her. So you see that with NATO. You see that with all these other groups, as Russia right now at the time of this filming is in Ukraine, and they're just pushing against the city of Kiev. They call it Kiev right now. Now everyone's going off about how Russia's they're so oppressive, war crimes, and all this other stuff. But yet, if they really wanted to, they could just kill all the citizens, man. They're not doing that, are they? Once again, we're not supporting Russia or anybody. We're just saying we're looking at things honestly. When Russia brought missiles into Cuba, it was going to be like world war by the States. But when the States and other countries bring missiles right to Russia's doorstep, Russia's the bad guy? Really? I don't think I'd be comfortable with someone having nukes or missiles at my border, would you? So then when they put armies and stuff there, to kind of, because they're nervous and they're afraid, and they want to defend themselves. They're the bad guy. Take a lot of things. Sure, they say things wrong, but take a lot of things that other people say, like Biden, whoever it is, and there's a lot of wrong. Anyways, get into it. So to continue. So when examining the drink, so that Babylon, America the Great harlot, caused the others to drink, and that being the race they express against her, you can see comparatively that a strong drink and wine impairs a person's judgments and decisions. So does rage, paranoia, and giving oneself over to anger and allowing those to determine their next course of action. When you closely examine the presence of the United States of America in other countries and people's affairs of business, should I? You can easily see that just like a dominating prostitute and whore, they are everywhere. So involved in the business and affairs of every country on this world, and paranoid if they are not, and always trying to generate more money and power. The U.S.A. does everything they can to ensure that they get involved if they are not already somehow. They even make arguments like when people point out things to them that they're doing that's just blatantly wrong. They always seem to attempt to rationalize and justify it, and then you get everyone else to believe them, like NATO and everybody. Once again, we're not on the side of Russia or the U.S., is it? We're just saying, like, you sit back and you look at the honest evidence, and you decide for yourself, not as a citizen. Don't look at yourself as a citizen of one of those countries. If you look at yourself as someone that's born again, and you're getting involved with earthly politics and taking sides, you're not born again, for one thing. Or if you are, you're severely hampered that way, like there's something wrong. So you got to be objective. That means to look at things honestly from an honest point of view, without having anything involved, like your feelings and emotions. Like, well, I was born in America, or I was born in Puerto Rico, or I was born this place or that. But you know what I mean? Or if you were born in one of these countries that have been oppressed by them, then you could cause a hate. I want to murder, right? So you got to be careful. So now, the USA does everything they can to ensure that they get involved if they are not already somehow. And they do everything they can to not only get involved, but to control all of those who are, and to control those who ask them to get involved. One can see this in more than what we have already written on, such as the facts that they feel that it is righteous for them to have nuclear weapons. But they do not like it that others do, nor are they supportive of those who do not have it obtaining nuclear weaponry. They manipulate, connive, lie, cheat, steal, kill, destroy, and deceive their way into everyone's business as best they can by doing everything from what has already been mentioned to drafting agreements and treaties and such that they themselves do not keep. Why is it fair that Japan not be able to have an offensive army or offensive capabilities, or other places, when look at what the United States has done with theirs? So that's a side note. Once again, we're not taking sides. We're not trying to run your politics or tell people how to run things, are we? We're just saying it's honest freedom of expression, freedom of religion, and we don't hate anyone, do we? We love you. Even you, Americans, are watching. We love you. It's just, we want you to change. We want you to get away from there. Come out of her, right? So the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty is one where they are supposed to be dead set against nations other than the ones who had nuclear weapons at the signing of the treaty, gaining nuclear weapons and nuclear weapons capabilities. They decided to go into Iraq and destroy it with the unverified and uncredible reasoning that Iraq was in possession of nuclear weapons and other weapons of mass destruction. And it was later proven that Iraq did not have any such weaponry in their possession, and I'll add, at all. Although it was none of their business, they did not extend that same treatment towards North Korea when North Korea went forward with nuclear research and weapons building, because they cannot win a war against North Korea, just as they lost the war against Vietnam. The 89 days pull out, remember? And then they went back in and they said, well, there's only one day left, and they left. So, once again, right, they cannot win a war against North Korea, just as they lost the war against Vietnam. They are also allowing Iran to build and expand. Well, if they lost the war against Vietnam, and Vietnam didn't have any nuclear power at the time, they think, what would happen in North Korea? Oh. So they are also allowing Iran to build and expand their nuclear program, which already includes, not that they have the right to allow or disallow, it's just saying, right, according to the treaty, which already includes and will include more nuclear weaponry. What is the purpose of making a nuclear deal when you're signed to prevent others from building that sort of weaponry? What's the deal? Huh. The U.S., India, Australia, stop up. Maybe I'll say it's over. Did I climate transgress? Maybe I'll say it's over. Okay. The U.S., India, Australia, and Japan. Hear my voice is saying. I'm a prophet for Yahweh. I'll say, oh yeah. And Yahweh says only begotten Son is one. He says Yahweh. I'll say, oh yeah, I'm the Almighty. Hear my voice. The U.S., India, Australia, and Japan have allied with each other into a group Japan authored called the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, and was put together with the express intent of attempting to defend themselves against China if China ever attacks any of them. Japan and China, having had bad relations previously and having a lot of fear, approached the United States with the idea. That's just love for my own. I get emotional. I've had a tough time maybe. Japan and China, having had bad relations previously and having a lot of fear, approached the United States with the idea of the group and having gained America's full support. Of course, the U.S.A. is afraid and desires to control China and cannot. So, and having gained America's full support, began with America, Australia, and India to put together large military cooperative exercises, considering the four members of the Quad's activities. They have not helped China at all in relation to peace and assurance, but have only provoked China, and in response, China has produced more nuclear weapons, more naval ships, gained more soldiers, and furtherly built all aspects of the military as a response to feeling threatened. Listen. Go and look it up. Open up a tab on your computer. You know, like when you open a tab, you go look up the Quad. Go look up the stuff we're saying. Don't believe it just because I said it. I'm a true prophet, but you know what? You know what makes me true? Source and verse 1 is 1. We call him All Yah, the Almighty, creator of all things. YaHooWaH, All Yah. His only begotten Son, YaHooWaH. He is one, not 2 or 3. Go watch the videos. You know, He is one. His word is His body, flesh, and temple, and always has and always will be. This can be easily seen when he wrestled with Jacob, or when he parted the sea. And His word became built man and created manifestation of His only begotten Son, aspect of Him reside in the aspect of His temple, the most He is one. So He makes me true. He is true. He says He is the way, the truth, and the life. No one can go to the rest of Him except through Him. Makes sense. You know. So if He's literally true, then all these evidences, this credibility, are aspects of Him. True. So back to the Quad. So the large military cooperative exercise. Considering the four members of the Quad's activities, I'll read this part again to reiterate. They have not helped China at all in relation to peace and assurance, but have only provoked China. And in response, China has produced more nuclear weapons, more naval ships. I think their tonnage is almost the same as the U.S. now. And they have just as many, if not more, ships. Gained more soldiers and furtherly built all aspects of the military as a response to feeling threatened themselves. What does America gain from being involved with the Quad? Financial gain and military support. Right? They often sell military equipment to Japan, India, and Australia, amongst other things, and it has brought the four closer together and profited all four of them financially. With the Quad, other alliances, and their financial wealth, Babylon, America the Great Harlot, feels more secure and supported in making aggressive and overt moves and saying aggressive things and making demands towards countries such as China and Russia. You notice how they've been getting more comfortable? Arguing with China about Taiwan and their own waters, at the same time they're arguing with Russia at this time of the filming of this video, arguing with and the writing of these scriptures, and then at the same time arguing with Russia about Ukraine. I mean, so the United States does not view communism as acceptable because they feel it is a threat to their economic livelihood and well-being. However, how can communism be any worse of a threat than democracy? Once again, buckle up, don't get emotional. Okay? These ways of governing are both abomination. We're not anarchists. So we're just against bad government, are you? when it can be easily seen that China, the largest communist nation, is also arguably the richest financial ones. The U.S. lists themselves as the #1 richest and most powerful, of course, and China is second. The most populated and arguably the most armed. When you examine the United States' way of government, well, Russia too, they have more nuclear warheads. When you examine the United States' way of government, there are just as much, if not more, persecutions of and oppression of its citizens than in China, such as the problems the U.S. has with mass shootings, gun problems, hatred, for example, colored people versus whites, false religions versus false religions, false religion versus a true religion, ours, etc. Abortions, sickness, diseases, prostitution, and many other things which the police and other workers of the government often perpetuate, support, and overlook. Please excuse me. The United States also has a much higher rate of drug abuse and deaths related to drug overdose and gang activities than China does. We're not supporting the Chinese. Oh, here we go. We're not advocating China, Russia, or any other persons who are not in covenant, nor are we advocating any false form of government over others. A false form of government is any government other than YaHooWaH, the Almighty, who is government, and the true government and the true creator, builder, and sovereign of the one true government called Israel, not the one you see here on earth they call Israel. We are witnessing to the fact that America is Babylon the Great Whore. And to do so, we must look at the facts and draw comparisons with credible, true, and verifiable data. And that includes, of course, Scripture. How many nations and countries and people does Babylon, America the Great Whore, affect? Every single one there is, especially the true nation. Regarding the false faith and religious groups, they steal, mistranslate, and misapply Scripture and prophecy while misleading billions of people and causing them to stumble in the darkness. They're not knowing and take advantage of people's faith, sincerity, and trust. With the many denominations of falsehood, such as Christianity, they believe they are the chosen ones, and many groups believe they are as the new Israel and chosen nation, while they ignore, disrespect, dishonor, and kill true prophets and YaHooWaH, the Almighty, whom they hurt the most. They have written millions of blasphemous. They have written millions of blasphemous books. They have written millions of blasphemous books, spoken in millions of meetings they set up, and have performed in as many as well, all the while professing falsehoods, lying, faking healings, faking devil castings, faking laying on of hands, taking people's money, practicing witchcraft, committing idolatry, sexual immorality, and calling upon Baal, quote, Lord, God, etc. Once again, if you don't believe us, go watch the first 3 videos, especially in that context. Do they really call him God, Allah, or Lord? All the evidence is there that those aren't his real names or terms, and that they're actually idolatrous and wicked. With their loud, obnoxious, in the name of Jesus, in the laying on of their defiled, sweaty, greedy hands, not that ours are, but you know, the name of Jesus. Blasphemy. Abomination. And the laying on of their defiled, sweaty, greedy hands, one of the worst cases of hypocrisy and the blind leading the blind there is, with only devils and the beast, and mark of the beast, and one world government system being worse. U.S.A. Regarding money, with over half of the world's foreign bank reserves denominated in U.S. dollars, go open up the tab there, take your notes, check it to make sure I'm true. Right, beloved? With over half of the world's foreign bank reserves denominated in U.S. dollars, and with the dollar as the world's reserve currency and as a standard chosen over gold, everyone on earth is affected by the economic stability and prosperity of Babylon, America the Great Whore. Go check it out if you don't believe me. Investors, banks, nations, and then don't make some argument saying that it's all conspiracy stuff and people are getting together and ganging up to make it look true. Go look at the evidence now. Investors, banks, nations, and anyone who desires to generate more money and to secure it must use mainly American currency to do so. Or, at the least, must refer to the American dollar, as all other currencies at the time of this writing are measured off the U.S. dollar. I think even cryptos. Not true? Say the word. Open it up, click the book, make sure it's true. As it is the current standard. They can use gold and digital currencies such as China, Russia, and others do. However, they must still use and depend at least somewhat on the American dollar. The only way this would change is either by the U.S.A. and everyone else agreeing to something else, like some kind of new system or something, or if Babylon, America the Great Whore was wiped out, because then what value would their money be? What will happen when Babylon, America the Great Whore is wiped out? As a result, there will not only be horrible suffering and so much land unusable due to nuclear radiation and waste, but economic instability, uncertainty, hopelessness, and grief alike are unlike anything anyone has ever seen in all of history. Not only will drug merchants, so that's all true. That means that I sound if it's untrue, and he goes. Not only the mouth of truth witnesses is established. So not only will drug merchants and anyone who has American money stored in banks or otherwise immediately lose it all once America goes and is stripped of her wealth, what value would its currency have? Anyone who has investments and or who trades, who relies upon American money, will go broke. The number of ships going to and away from American ports in one day alone is enough to make a person rich without ever having to work for money or invest ever again. The price for anything from grain, gold, oil and gas, lumber, clothing, music, cellular phones, medical care, drugs, all food, and all things purchased by money will go so high that most all people will not be able to afford the costs, and so poverty will go up higher than anyone has ever seen. Horrible. Right? Related to the horseman. We'll get into that some other time. The pale one, other things. But the wages paid to workers will mostly be lowered as well, with investors, financiers, banks, corporations, businesses, and governments scrambling to generate the profits they experienced before America fell and to regain what they will have lost. And a side note, also to implement a new monetary system. This in turn will add to the poverty and starvation levels and will of course add to the level of suicides, murders, and other crimes such as thefts, robberies, and the like. This is all supported by the scriptures which we shared at the beginning, we shared above. Please refer to them. So go back to the video and watch this again, or like when you pause and you look at certain parts. Or if you've been taking notes, that might be easier. Where people across the earth are weak. So this is all supported by the scriptures which were shared above. So in the video before, but above we're looking at the document shared above as in previous pages. Where people across the earth are weeping, mourning, and wailing about the losses they will experience because of the fall of Babylon, America the Great Harlot, and then putting their trust, love, and faith and money in the system. So that's all for part one. Once again, please don't get angry. Give us a chance. Look back in the video, like rewind, and look at all the scripture references and be like, yes, every fruit that is there, that is Babylon, the great harlot, the great city, is actually the same fruits that U.S.A. bears. Compared to Vatican, compared to other groups, and you realize that U.S.A., Babylon the Great lines up 100. If you're desirous to reach us, you may do so via email. So this will all appear on your screen there. Make sure you have your closed captioning on in case it failed or something. We'll say it verbally. So thanks for that. So zion.eliah@protonmail.com. So that's zion.eliah@protonmail.com. You can also use that to look us up on Skype. We do not use that same email for our Facebook, do we? Or our Twitter, do we? So on Twitter and Facebook, you will have to type in my name. That's me, my dad's Facebook, and Twitter. He leaves it. But he decides, he shares it and he puts in his baby's name. So it'll be Zion Ben YaHooWaH. So ZION space BENYAHOO WASAY. So Zion Ben YaHooWaH. If you're desirous to help us and support us with finances, we could use that. We have a GoFundMe. If you want to look that up, please check it out. It'll be available on your screen here. More importantly, if you're interested, if you find out what we say to be true and you're kind of alarmed and scared and stuff, you're like, what do I do next? watch the first 3 videos. Test all things with Zion and his dad. And, oops, it's difficult because it's the opposite, right? When you're facing the screen, it's on camera, so it's like a mirror. But not quite like it. Oh, it's opposite of a mirror. And so you want to watch Test All Things with Zion and his dad. Also, is he really called God, Allah, or Lord? And then the covenant, born again. Watch it in that order, please, because then it'll make sense. Otherwise, you'll be like, I don't like this guy. He's full of it. He's lying. Or just like, I don't think he's true. And then click, you get out there, and then it's like, you didn't give us a chance, did they? So test it all out. On those videos too, we'll have all the captioning and stuff and information. So love ya, and we'll talk to you soon. Hopefully you look into everything we said and stay with us, right? And please subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. And keep watching. Love ya. In the name of YaHooWaH ben ZaBaDaYaH, so be it all. So long.